I tested new makeup without knowing how much it cost, so I could determine whether or not I would want to buy it without having that in my head, but we'll see if I change my mind once I actually see the price tag. If you're new here, my name is Miranda. I've been testing beauty products online since 2012, but I'm so glad you found me today. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about the new Maybelline Cloudtopia cheek and lip mousses. So these definitely lean into the K-beauty makeup trend that has been getting more popular over the past year and a half with the blurry matte finish. But they're supposed to offer 14 hours of wear on the cheeks. The brand describes these as having an airlight mousse texture with a velvet finish, and they say that they're transfer resistant, crease resistant, and sweat resistant. They're supposed to stay flawless all day long through humidity, heat, and activity. Okay, so I need to address the elephant in the room because the first time I opened these and I saw the texture, what does this remind you of? The first thing that came to mind was the Dream Matte Mousse foundation or the Dream Mousse blush. Digging my fingers into them, there's almost more of a jelly texture in these. They're not as whipped as the Dream Mousse collection from the early aughts. The first day that I tested the Cloudtopia cheek and lip mousse, I used the shade Twilight Berry. Loved this. I applied this with the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. It is a denser brush that I like to use with liquid and cream products, but I definitely had to dab some of the excess product off on the back of my hand, and even then, I felt like I over-applied and had to even out the color with my sponge, which had a little extra foundation on it. In general, I would recommend, especially because of this mousse formula, to dab it on the back of your hand first if you're using a brush or sponge before you go in on your face. Because of the moussey formula, I feel like it's easy to kind of pick up a glob that is just kind of on one spot on your brush. And if you go straight in to your face, you're gonna have a glob on one part of your face that you're gonna need to blend out from there. Whereas if you kind of even it out on the brush ahead of time, you'll be able to apply it more evenly. Now, even though this is described as a velvet matte or a cloud finish, don't mistake that for flat matte. It's definitely a filtered look. This is very silicone based, and I feel like it makes my skin look very smooth. But the thing is that this doesn't take away the glow that I work so hard to achieve with my skincare. So I tested different shades of this formula 3 days in a row, and I didn't feel like I saw much fading throughout the day when worn on the cheeks. Gorgeous color, gorgeous finish, long lasting. This was my favorite brush to use, the Milani Cream Blush Brush. This is the perfect density and softness to really create a diffused blush look with this type of formula for sure. But let's talk about how they did on the lips, because it is a cheek and lip mousse. I can count on less than one hand how many 2-in-1 cheek and lip products I actually like on my lips, whether it's how it looks or how it feels. And frankly, I just need more moisture in my lip products than I do my cheek products. So with that said, I did not even make it to work yet before I was dying to apply lip balm on top of this when I applied it to my lips. So I used my O'Keeffe's lip balm on top of it, which did end up dissolving the color a bit. The transfer proof claim definitely did not apply to the lips once I moisturize them. I can't say whether or not it would apply if you just put this on and don't put anything on under or on top of it. I would just never wear it that way. This whole 14-hour claim and all of these claims really only apply to it as a blush. And it kind of just feeds into my opinion that these 2-in-1 lip and cheek colors, I feel like most of the time when you see that, it's a gimmick and it really is just a blush. And even if you don't mind the finish or the feel on the lips and maybe they feel fine to you, are you really gonna carry around this jar to reapply it throughout the day with your fingers, out in the wild? Before we continue the video, I wanna give a shout out to today's sponsor, Sima. You may have seen me use their Japanese exfoliating shower towel in my last video. It's become my new favorite shower accessory. This is an antibacterial woven cleansing towel that works great for both sudsing up your body wash and getting all the hard to reach areas like your back and your feet without having to bend over thanks to the length. It's infused with silver ions, which is what gives it its antibacterial properties. And because it's kind of this mesh texture, it dries quickly and completely to avoid mildew. So much better than a loofah in every single way. Plus it's 20 times longer lasting and they're super affordable. You can use my code Miranda for more savings. I've been using this over the last few months instead of using a body scrub. I usually deal with very dry skin in winter here in the desert, but because I'm using this with its gentle daily exfoliation, I'm seeing smoother skin and my moisturizing products are sinking in more thoroughly. Check them out. I'll put the link in the description. Now back to the video. With all that said, without knowing the price, would I buy it? I would say yes as a blush, not a lip product. Even as a blush, I feel like these offer something different in my collection. I love how it looks on top of my textured skin. I think it smooths everything out. Okay, but let's find out how much it costs. Oh, okay. These are at most $10. At Ulta, at CVS, they're $9.99. At Target, they're $7.99. Wait, is that a sale or are they just priced lower at Target? No, at Target, they're $7.99. Okay, absolutely. I 100% expected these to be like $12 to $15 because I feel like they are very trendy. And in general, drugstore makeup is just getting more expensive, but I am pleasantly surprised. Last week, I was also testing the new Urban Decay 24/7 liquid stick liners. This was a super interesting launch to me. They are part of that 24/7 collection that Urban Decay is really known for, and they're 24/7 glide-on liners, like the cult favorites, the ones that they've had forever. Those have always been like the standard that I hold every other pencil liner to, drugstore or high-end. So seeing them try something new and come out with a new liner formula that was seemingly just like a gel pencil was interesting. So just like their glide-on pencils, these claim up to 24-hour wear as well as waterproof, transfer-proof, and smudge-proof wear. But this formula is supposed to, quote, line like a liquid and glide like a pencil. It says liquid-like color intensity, but the smooth application of gel liner. Now these are double-ended, and so you have the liner on one end, and it is a very thin liner tip. It almost looks like a brow pencil, and that is supposed to help you get more precise lines, like they say, lining like a liquid, whatever. But on the other side, we do have a fluffy brush so that you can smoke out your liner. Now, I'm a little on the fence because I used to be very adamantly team no built-in brush because here's the thing, this is never getting washed. This is not in the rotation with the rest of my makeup brushes when I bring them into my bathroom to wash them. So built-in brushes do tend to get gunked up a little bit more easily. I feel like that's not just a me thing. I don't know, you tell me. But I am on team travel without makeup brushes. So because of that, because that's kind of become my norm now, built-in anything, built-in brushes, built-in spoolies, whatever, they have become a little bit more appreciated by me. So let me know your thoughts on built-in brushes, but back to the claims. This was funny. They say that this has ultra precise precision. Not redundant at all. It says the high impact color will set quickly, so to blend fast. So the first time that I tested this out, I did go in with the black shade, which is called Melted Onyx, and wow, this is an intense black, as expected from Urban Decay, and I did decide to smoke it out and create sort of a blurred wing. Very easy to blend, really easy to get that gradient look. I loved my liner at the beginning of the day. But throughout the day, I was at work, I was at my desk, or I was in the bathroom, and I would be looking in the mirror and kind of doing one of these, like, because I felt like I was seeing smudging under my lower lash. Now, I was also testing a new mascara, and I wasn't sure what was happening. And on this day, I also did not prime my eyelids. I only powdered them. I used my About Face curtain call powder. I have extremely oily lids. They have only gotten oilier as I've gotten older, which is kind of weird. I thought the opposite happened. The rest of my skin has gotten drier. My lids just keep getting oilier. Usually if I'm not wearing eyeshadow, I will still powder my lids just so that I don't end up looking greasy. But either way, I was seeing smudging. So the next day I wanted to figure out, is it the liner or is it the mascara? So I actually ended up using the blue liner from Urban Decay. This is such a pretty shade. It's called Rough Waves. It's kind of like a navy or a dark denim shade. And on this day, I also primed and powdered my lids. Now I will say, over primer and powder, these were a little bit harder for me to get the look that I wanted. I feel like the formula set in like a quarter of the time, so it took some finessing to get the wing that I wanted. I was trying to go for a bit more of a precise wing, and I will say, like, even though this is a really nice thin tip, I did feel like I needed to go in with a skinny brush to get more of a precise wing. So I used the Sigma E06 brush, and this just helped really get that crisp outline that I don't think this quite gives you unless you're going for thicker lines. So anyway, I finally got the look that I liked. But after a few hours, I checked in, and sure enough, now that I could differentiate the blue liner from my black mascara, I was seeing blue smudging under my lower lash line, and I did not put liner on my lower lash line. For that reason alone, I just don't feel like this formula is compatible with my eyes. Like if I can't fix the smudging problem with the extra step of primer, then I don't want to keep trying. Like that's just me. It shouldn't be that hard to just get a product to do what it claims to do. So let's find out the price tag, but in general, I don't think I would purchase these for myself or recommend them for anybody with extremely oily lids. If you do not have extremely oily lids, then these will probably work just fine for you. I feel like that's always the caveat when I'm reviewing eye makeup. $26. Right now it's on sale on Urban Decay site for $19.50. Yeah. I certainly wouldn't pay $26 for it. I don't think I would even pay $20 for it. What's interesting though is that when I look this product up, I think Google is showing me a dupe because it's leading me to the NYX Epic Inky Sticks Mechanical Cream Gel Eyeliner, which looks so similar except it doesn't have a built-in brush. I'm curious if these are dupes because Urban Decay and NYX are both owned by L'Oreal. L'Oreal is notorious for duping themselves across all of their brands. Stay tuned because that might be a future video. I was super excited when these L'Oreal Hyaluron Tint Lip Stain Serums arrived in my mailbox. Ever since starting my in-office corporate job last August, I've really only been wearing lip stains on a daily basis. That is my daily go-to lip product, specifically the Milani lip stains. I want to be able to have lunch and then go straight into a meeting without worrying about, do I have enough time to touch up my makeup? Is something smearing? Is something fading weird? But just like I mentioned with the lip and cheek mousses, I desperately need more moisture in my lip products. And the Milani stains specifically, I feel like are the most hydrating lip stains out there that stay looking very even on the lips throughout the day. So the whole idea behind this product seemed promising because they are lip stain serums, part serum, part stain, and they're supposed to instantly provide 80% increased lip hydration upon application for juicy, plush, soft, nourished lips. 80% more instant hydration sounded wonderful. They're available in 8 shades. The brand sent me 3. There are neutrals. There are also more bold shades like red. The red they sent me is Le Rouge, but the neutrals they sent me, wait for it, worth it and worth it medium. So these are neutral shades that L'Oreal has in pretty much every lip product that they make. They are such beautiful neutrals, but they are very close to Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk shades, just saying. Now these have a really nice applicator. They are wide, they are flat, and they have a very precise point, so you can really line your lips with them if you want more of a sharper lip look. And the wide and flat shape helps you swipe it in one even layer so that it doesn't look blotchy, because these are definitely a tint stain. These are not something that's gonna give you full coverage color and then stay like that. They definitely start out very sheer. They are buildable, but because of that, with sheerer stains, you want to apply them in very thin, even layers. That way it's not splotchy. So I think that the applicator is designed for just that. Now this formula is very thin, much thinner than the Milani stains I was talking about. It definitely reminds me of K-Beauty stains, though it's not as runny, I think, as like some traditional K-Beauty tints. It's not watery, but it does feel very liquidy and thin on the lips. They sort of sink in, they become one with your lip. I did feel like this applied very evenly, and indeed my lips felt nourished, though because it's thinner, it doesn't feel cushy, it doesn't feel balmy. So like the Milani ones, and I know I'm doing a lot of comparing, but those are literally my everyday lip stain. The Milani ones have this gel consistency that stays feeling cushy on the lips if you don't blot it away. This has a little bit of that gelish texture because it's not runny, but it really does set into your lips, and then it just feels like there's nothing on your lips. They give you like a bare lip feel, but your lips feel hydrated. Now these are transfer proof very quickly after application, which I appreciated, especially because usually I do my makeup and then I get in the car to go to work, and usually on my way to work, I'm sipping on my water bottle. And I will say, with the Milani stains, they are not immediately transfer proof. It takes a while for them to dry down. So that first few sips going into work, I am getting product on my straw like first thing in the day. Here you can see I have my white water bottle. I'm drinking it at the office and nothing's coming off on the straw. Honestly, I really forgot that I was wearing anything on my lips on the first day that I tested this until after lunch. I did want to do a little makeup check-in. There was definitely a little bit of wear showing, but especially because this was more of a neutral shade, this was the Worth It medium shade. It wasn't something super obvious. It still looked like I had color on. I did end up reapplying though, mostly for the boost of moisture, not necessarily because I felt like I needed to color-wise. And here's what it looked like at the end of the day. This is after a total of 2 meals wearing this product, but having reapplied between them. Now, I will say, and this happens to me with these more liquidy lip tint formulas, it's very easy to get gathering around any lip texture or lines. And especially when I tested it in the red shade, again, this is Le Rouge, I could see that a lot more prominently. If you do a very thin layer and let it dry completely and then do another very thin layer, you can kind of prevent it from pooling in the lip lines. It's really when you're over applying in one layer that it starts to gather there. Even with those nuanced cons, I feel that the pros of this product outweigh them. I really love the lightweight formula. I love that it feels like nothing on my lips while still hydrating them, but I would probably personally only stick to the more neutral shades. I would not necessarily reach for the bold shades in this formula. The bolder shades is what I would use the Milani stain for, since they do stay a little bit more cushy and stronger evenly on my lips. But let's find out how much they are, especially with L'Oreal products that are makeup skincare hybrids. I feel like they tend to run a little bit more expensive. Okay, the lowest price that I'm seeing at Target and Walmart is $10.99. The highest price I'm seeing is at CVS, which is at about $15, and Ulta is right in the middle at $13.99. I do feel like they're different enough though, and the Milani stains do not come in neutrals. So that's where I think having the Worth It shades really makes this worth it to me. L'Oreal Hyaluron Tint Lip Stain Serums, I'd buy it. And finally, the last product that I was testing last week without knowing the price was the new Urban Decay Tube Job Tubing Mascara. Now, let me give you some context before I get into this. My everyday mascara since I started working my 9-to-5 job has been the waterproof L'Oreal Panorama Mascara. I had to switch to the waterproof version. I feel like all of the new viral mascaras coming out from any brand, they have recently been very heavy on my lashes. I have very straight lashes. They are almost downturned when I don't curl them. I often have to over curl them or crimp them just to retain any bit of curl or lift with all of these modern mascara formulas. And even with tubing mascaras, especially because with a tubing mascara, the whole point is it's enveloping each lash in a tube layer, they can be heavy. Whether it's the e.l.f. Lash Extender, which is my favorite drugstore tubing mascara, still weighs my lashes down or straightens them out, or higher end, like the Thrive tubing mascara, or the, what is it called, Liquid Lash Extensions mascara, that one definitely straightens out my lashes. So I was curious about this, but I wasn't necessarily optimistic because I love a good tubing mascara. I love how easy it is to take off while being transfer proof and sweat proof and all that, but I just never quite love the look that I'm getting with them. But went ahead and put this on the first day, and my first impression was that this is a much lighter weight and drier tubing mascara than I'm used to. And I was able to get some good length with this. The comb wand really helps keep my lashes separated. The comb wand has a lot of tiny little bristles, especially toward the point. You have all of these tiny little ones that are kind of like staggered, so I can get really in there to coat even the babiest of my lashes. Now, I did feel like I lost a little bit of curl right off the bat when I applied this, but it did retain my lift, because those are two different things, right? So the curl of your lash is like how curly it is, like kind of rounded out, but the lift is like how high your lashes are. So as long as I'm retaining lift, that's a win in my book, because with the other formulas, I'm losing curl and lift. And the lift lasted throughout the day. And because it's a drier formula, it's not inherently adding too much weight to my lashes until I really start building it up. Most tubing mascaras end up flaking on me because of the fact that I build them up. Whether it's the Thrive one or the Milani one flakes on me like crazy. I know so many people love that mascara. I cannot wear it because it flakes on me even if I don't really build it up that much. That's just not the formula for me. Now with this one, I did notice some flaking at the end of the day. However, the flakes were so teeny tiny that I actually didn't see them when I was checking in with my makeup at work or in the bathroom. I only saw them when I came home and looked in my magnifying mirror. That's how small they were. So out of all of the tubing mascaras I've tried recently, even the Lash Extender from e.l.f., which is a go-to of mine in summer, this has actually performed the best on me when it comes to lift, length, and the flake resistant properties. It's the least flakiest. I was also able to remove this completely with just warm water. It does slip off in tubes. Now, Without knowing the price, this is where it gets tricky because I really like this product. However, I kind of have a hard stance on never buying non-drugstore mascaras unless they are on sale. It's an Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. It's a Sephora sale. They're half off. They're on the drugstore end of the price spectrum. Because with mascaras, I feel like they dry out before I can use the whole tube. They are the product that is supposed to expire the quickest. So to me, I just feel like paying anything over like $15 is a little excessive. I'd say I would buy this for sure if it was on sale, or I would buy a mini version. Okay, but let's find out how much a full price tube costs. $25. Okay, I would definitely buy this over the Thrive one just for my lash needs and preferences. Okay, wait, they have a travel size version. The travel size is usually $15, but Urban Decay has a 25% off site-wide sale right now. So the travel size version is like $11. The full size tube with the 25% off, let's do some math here, $25, 25% off $25. That's $18. Okay, it's on the cusp. I think I'd buy that. I'd buy it on sale or as a travel size, especially a travel size on sale. I wanna know, have you tried any of these products? If so, do you feel like the performance matches the price tag? But if not, now that you know how much they cost and how they perform, which ones would you buy? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video. If you're still watching, leave a pink heart emoji so we know who else is in the club. If you wanna spend more time together, YouTube thinks you'll like watching this video next. I'll see you over there. Bye.